Hi everybody, how are you? It's Dr. Cruz, author of Maximize Your Superpowers and the creator of the Six-Figure Blueprints. If you would like a copy of Maximize Your Superpowers, just go to my website and I will send you an electronic version for free, okay? I'm a big proponent of us maximizing our own superpowers because there's so many of us that we talk to our friends, we talk to our families, we talk to a counselor, we talk to, all these human beings, right? And sometimes they have value, but many times they do not, right? If you talk to the wrong person to get help, you could very well be worse off after you talk to that person than you were before you talked to them. So the wisdom you seek needs to predominantly come from you, okay? And that is pretty much the basis of what I'm going to talk to you about. There's three things that I feel like if you focus on these three things right now during this coronavirus quarantine period, now that you have the time, you have extra time to focus on these three things, I truly believe that you will be better off when it's over than when it started. All right? So that's the goal. No matter what you go through in life, whether it's a divorce, whether it's a pandemic, whether it's failing a class, whether it's something that you perceive to be negative, right? The goal is, how do I get through it so that I'm better off when it's over than when it initially started? Okay? All right, so today I want to start off with this first thing. For me, it was very critically important growing up, right? So for me, I did not have an identity, like a solid identity for many years because I grew up without parents, without family, and in the foster care system, which was tremendously confusing, tremendously unstable, and tremendously unhealthy for me, right? So I had all these people and experiences influencing my self-image and my sense of self-confidence. And so as I grew up, I really had no idea who I was. And then I went into relationships, right? Romantic relationships, not knowing who I was. Therefore, I had no standards for the people that I was in relationships with, right? And so I took jobs based on not really knowing my identity. I created a life not really understanding what I stood for, what my belief systems were, what my convictions were, what my morals were, what my mission statement in life was. I lived a life kind of without a foundation, right? And so I am not alone in this. There are many people who live a life without a foundation, right? And some people, many people live a life from a foundation that they did not create. Okay, so this first thing I'm going to tell you to focus on really helps you to create a very solid foundation for your life. Because you need to ask yourself, what is your foundation, first of all, and how did it get developed? Right? And most people will, if they're honest with themselves, they'll realize the foundation they've built their life on is an identity that was developed from everything that they've experienced in the past, right? This is true for all of us. We are who we are today based on the experiences we've had in the past. And the reality about that is you currently probably are not who you authentically were born to become. You actually are a byproduct of your history. For better or for worse, you're a byproduct of your history, right? You're a byproduct of how your parents raised you. You're a byproduct of how your extended family raised you. You're a byproduct of how your peers treated you. You're a byproduct of whatever your teachers influenced you to believe about yourself. You're a byproduct from what the media and what TV shows you've watched have influenced you to believe about yourself. You are a byproduct of your thinking, right? So you're a byproduct of a lot of things, but you probably are not right now, currently, the internal being of what it was you were created to become. All right? And so step number 1 is I want you to find out who you are in Christ. Find out who you are in Christ. What does that mean? For me, I had to find out who I was in Christ because I did not know who I was, right? And living the very, very scary life that I lived, I was always in reaction to things, right? So many of us, we grow up and we're in reaction to our environment, right? Especially if we live in like low-income housing, if we live in the hood, if we live in poverty, if we live in right now during this coronavirus thing, we are living in reaction to our environment because there's those things that I just named. There's dangers out there. So when you're homeless, when you're even when you're in corporate, right? There's so many people in corporate and in entrepreneurship, they feel like there's competition out there. So you're in reaction, right? You're plotting and planning your life, but you're reacting to external elements. You are creating yourself, your behaviors, your belief systems, and all this kind of thing in reaction to your external environment. That is not ideal for us. Because then we become a fabrication instead of an original, right? So if you want to be an original, if you want to know what was it that I was born to do, why was I created, right? This is a very deep and very interesting question to ask yourself. Why was I created? Why was I created, right? Many of us, we react to our divorce. We react to our breakup. We react to arguments we have with our significant other. We react to being parents. We react to our children's behaviors. We react to things we know we need to plan for, right? We're constantly in a reaction mode. But when you figure out who you are in Christ, you put all of that down. You put your armor down. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to validate anything. You don't need to hide anything. You just come as you are. And you say, who am I in Christ? Right? What does the Bible say about me? What are the gifts and talents that I have? And why do I have them? What was I created to do? What gift from my talents am I supposed to be sharing with the world? This is a very deep question. And it changes. The answer changes. The question doesn't change. The answer changes. Right? It changes depending on what life stage you're in. But listen, if you don't fundamentally know who you are on a spiritual level, and whether you believe in Christ or not, just on a spiritual level, who are you on a spiritual level? What do you believe on a spiritual level? Because you see, there's a lot of people right now who are overreacting to this coronavirus, right? Because they don't know what their spiritual beliefs are. They're reacting from this because of their environment. But when you know who you are in Christ, you don't have to worry about all that. You don't have to worry about that, right? Even you get very clear on your belief systems about life itself. So then you don't fear death, right? The people who are reacting fear death. But when you know who you are on a spiritual level, you're focused on what it is you're supposed to be doing, and you're not focused on what the fear is telling you should be focused on. Two very different perspectives. When I know who I am on a spiritual level, I focus on my spiritual gifts. I focus on my calling. And when my time's up, my time's up. I don't fear death. Other people are reacting. They're paranoid. They live in fear. I'm over 65. I have this. I'm 25. I see people on TV, 25, 30. They're, sick with the corona and they're panicking. And listen, it's either going to be the corona. It's going to be, HIV, the Spanish flu, the flu from 1918, whatever the hell. You know what I mean? And the H1N1, the stock market crash, there's always going to be something, right? The real estate crash in 07, 08, there's always going to be something that's going to threaten you. That's going to threaten the foundation from which you live. So what I'm saying is create a very strong, solid, clear understanding of the foundation from which you live. Because when you have that clear foundation of who you are, what you believe to be true, and what your conviction is about life, then nothing can knock you off your platform because it's inside of you. You work from your belief system inside of you, your knowing, your enlightenment, your spiritual awareness and wisdom, which centers you and it anchors you so that you're not all over the place when the next thing pops up. Find out who you are in Christ. If you don't believe in Jesus, find out who you are spiritually. What do you believe about life and death? What do you believe about your calling? What do you believe about your purpose? What do you believe about, even if you don't have everything together in life, what do you believe about this journey you're on? What is the foundation from which you are rooted? You gotta know that. Because if not, every Instagram post, every Facebook post, every news episode is gonna rock you. I'm not this. I'm not that. I got to do this. I got to do that. I'm scared of this. This is going to happen. You're going to be all over the place. You're going to be the puppet and other people are going to be pulling your strings. So, number one, please understand who you are in Christ. Please get this foundation for your life. Okay? So that you're strong. You stand strong in what you know that you know. So when these other things come in and try to knock you down, it doesn't affect you very long. It either doesn't affect you at all, or if it does affect you, you bounce back very quickly. Okay? I had a situation like that yesterday. I talked to somebody to get some wisdom and understanding, and the person didn't take the right approach. And had I not known who I am in Christ, if I didn't know who I am, if I didn't have certainty about who the fuck I am, basically, you understand? You got to know who the fuck you are. If I didn't know who I am, if I didn't have certainty about my identity and what's possible and what I'm here for and what my calling and, just different things like that, this person would have knocked me off my game and would have had me confused. But I bounced back very quickly. And so it's critically important. Number one, find out who you are in Christ. Figure out who you are. Figure out your spirituality, your belief system. Listen, it doesn't have anything to do with religion. All right, I say find out who you are in Christ because I'm a Christian, and although that may be considered a religion, I don't do religiosity stuff, right? I don't play that game. I am centered spiritually. I am focused on my inner voice. I am focused on receiving guidance instead of thinking I know it all. Right? So you gotta use your human faculties, right? Your brain, your logic, your compassion, your ability to think critically, your ability to plan, your ability to dream, your imagination. You got to use all of your humanistic abilities in conjunction with your spiritual abilities to really be a whole being, for you to access everything that you have power over, right? And it's just important. You got to know who you are. You got to know what superpowers are available to you, right? So, for instance, just the superpower inherent in your awareness, right? That's chapter 2. You got to know what awareness is, right? Many people live their whole life and they don't have awareness. I was one of them. That's why I wrote the book. Right? And let's see. So something that you can do as a human is the superpower of, where is it? The one using what ails you. Basically, the superpower of using what ails you to advance you, right? That's a human capacity that you have. You have that capability to use what ails you in order to advance you. But you got to understand what that means, right? And to do that, you got to know who you are on a spiritual level, because you got to know what's possible for you. You got to know what's possible. Because if this thing tells you it's not possible, then it's not possible, right? So the second thing I want to tell you to do is meditate and journal until you hear your calling clearly. Continue to meditate, sit quietly, sit alone. Ask yourself the question if you want. Some people don't. They just sit quietly and they observe whatever is being presented to them, whatever rises out of their spirit. But sit and meditate until you know what it is you're supposed to be doing here on earth. So figure out who you are in Christ. Figure out your spiritual belief system. Figure out what you believe about life and death. Figure out what you believe about your personal power. Everything spiritually. Who were you born to be? And then connect that with meditation and journaling. Meditation, because you get to shut down the conscious mind, the chatter, right? So that the rest of, wherever this inner voice comes from, whether it comes from God, whether it comes from inside of you, whether it comes from the subconscious, whether it comes from whatever, right? So that you can hear it. And then journal. Journal about it. So you get it out of here and you put it on paper and you can objectively look at it and analyze it and assess it and flip it and think of it from different angles, right? And not only that, the more you write, right, as you write, the deeper you go into your subconscious mind. So the first half page or page of whatever you write, maybe even 2 pages, that's all conscious mind stuff. That's all being affected by your environment. But the deeper you write, you get deeper into your emotions. You get deeper into your history of, what was developed in you to believe. The more you write, the deeper you go into your own self, into your spiritual self, right? Your authentic self, your cellular being. So, number 1, find out who you are in Christ. Number 2, meditate and journal until you hear your calling clearly, right? Maybe it comes in little snippets. Maybe it's a whole vision and you're like, okay, where do I start, right? For me, I knew that I was a healer and a helper since I was a very young child, right? It was just in me. It's in my personality. And what form that took over the years is a different story, right? So for you, it could be the same thing, right? There's more than one way to skin a cat, basically. So there's no potentially right or wrong way to approach your calling, but there may be better ways than others, right? Depending on what result you're looking to achieve. Okay? But you have time now during this corona quarantine to really focus on this, instead of coming out on the other end as a panicked person that now is stressed the hell out and overweight and, not better off when it's over than when it started, right? All right, so number 3, after you figure out who you are and you know what you believe about your spirituality, about who you are, about your spirit as a human being, what do you believe about you and what is your calling, right? And get real clear on that, because people are going to try to knock you off your game. Oh, you can't do that. Oh, you're not good enough. Oh, you're confused about your own life. How can you be X, Y, and Z? You know what I mean? Like, you got to be solid about who the fuck you are. And don't let nobody, I'm telling you right now, don't let nobody, I don't care how close they are to you, I don't care how deep they are in your heart, you let no human being on this earth rock you. You don't do it. You don't let them rock you. You stay solid on the foundation from which you understand who you are in Christ. Because other people will have you thinking you are jacked up, that you're on the wrong path, that you should have had it together by now. That, what kind of mother or father are you? Or what kind of brother or sister are you? They will have you confused about who you are if you don't know who you are in Christ. If you don't know what's possible for you through Christ. Okay? And then after you meditate and you do your journaling, you find like-minded people to feed you. Right? We need to get around like-minded people so that these other people who think they know what they're talking about and their approach ends up hurting you more than it helps you, you don't have to deal with them because you have a group of like-minded people. And let me tell you something. It's not easy. It's not easy finding like-minded people. So you got to let your spirit guide you. You got to know how to listen to your spirit. If you don't know how to listen to your spirit, you're going to be misled through desperation. You're going to be misled by what's the hottest thing on the market. Who is the hottest mentor? Who's the person dominating social media with their mouth? Right? If you don't know who you are, you're going to be led by these external influences. And you can't do that, right? You can't let these external influence, even the president, the news, your congressman, whatever. You can't let external people dictate who you are, what you should be doing, what you think about yourself, and you can't let them have the final word about, or any word about what they think about you. It doesn't matter what people think about you. It matters who you are in Christ, period. The people that don't have a spiritual relationship suffer more than people who do have a spiritual relationship. I don't understand people that fight a spiritual understanding of who they are. Like, what's the purpose with that, right? What are you denying? What is it that you're scared of? What is it? You know what I mean? Like, you didn't create yourself. You came from somewhere. You came from something. What do you believe about that power? Right? So, figure it out. This is for you to figure out for yourself. And you can get around like-minded people. You can get around other people, period, and seek wisdom. But be strong enough in your own mind to know when I should be listening to this person or when this person has just led me down the wrong path. You have to have discernment. And discernment is a very special faculty. Discernment means that you have an ability to trust your inner voice. Right? So this spiritual work is very, very important. Everybody needs to do their spiritual work so that you are anchored. And people can't just push you off into the ocean and lead you down the wrong path. All right? So find out who you are in Christ. Meditate and journal until you get your a clear understanding of what your calling is in life. So you stop doing all this stuff that is not in alignment with who you are and where you're supposed to go in life. So that you stop dating the wrong person. So that you stop working the wrong job. So you stop being the person that somebody else created you to be. Figure out your inner energy. Where is it guiding you? What is it telling you you're supposed to do? Okay? And then get around like-minded people. People, even if you don't have the ideal like-minded people, try to gather with or create a group of your own so that you can attract like-minded people, and that together you all can strengthen and empower each other so that you're not vulnerable to these people in the world who think they know what they're talking about, but yet when they talk to you, they hurt you more than they help you. Never, ever, listen to me carefully. Never, ever, 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 never, ever, 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 never let someone tell you something negative. Don't let them plant that seed. Don't let them send you in that direction. Never, ever let them tell you something negative about you. No. No. You check everything someone says against who you are in Christ. Because when you know who you are in Christ, you might get confused about what path should I take. I need some wisdom. We're all always evolving, and we're all always moving down the path in life. And so the path isn't always clear. We need guidance. We need wisdom. We need earthly angels. We need people that can help get us there. That's all of us. Nobody gets to where they need to go in life alone. But just because something might be unclear to you in this moment does not mean anything negative about you. Not anything. You are capable. You just have to figure out how to become that person or how to walk in that capacity. And so that's why we need mentors and leaders and people that have done it before us to help us from a place of compassion. Right? You want a person to walk with you and guide you from a place of compassion. And I'm going to tell you, the one thing that irritates me more than anything else in this world is these assholes in the world who think they got it going on and they think they know better because they have something, whatever, fabricated, and then they look down on you because they think they're so together. It's a fucking facade. It's a facade. And I don't like it because that is a form of personal growth bullying. It's a form of personal growth bullying where someone is trying to seek guidance or wisdom from someone else. And that person, because they think they got it together, they say something negative or hurtful, or they plant a seed of doubt, or they tell you what's not possible. That's personal growth and development bullying. They're bullying you in a passive way because they're putting that doubt in your mind instead of saying, walk with me. I'll help you. I'm going to show you. This is what I did. They sit up there in their chair like they got it all together, and they present to you a negative image, either subliminally or just verbally directly in your face, and then you leave that person feeling worse off than when you first started. That's personal growth and development bullying. They're bullying you in a passive manner. And some people are not sharp enough to pick it up. And they may not even realize they're doing it. They may not have an awareness. Because oftentimes it's a defense for them to protect themselves because now they think they have an authority over you, that they have authority because they've achieved something. If you know who you are in Christ, they can't affect you. If you know who you are in Christ, your spirit will pick up good-spirited people. Good-spirited people. You want to get around good-spirited people. You don't want to get around these people that even you might put them on a pedestal. Even you might be like I have a friend who I put on a pedestal. I'm like, I know I can always go to this person, and whatever cloudiness I'm in, they can kind of see right through it, and they're going to help direct me. Sometimes people get to a place in life where they don't know how to handle the gift that they've been given. They take it for granted. They might look at you and think you should be further along in life than you are. They judge you. Maybe their approach is harsh because they think that's how they'll get better results out of you. None of it's really true. It's true if you believe that that's true. But the consequence on the other end of it is this. Your spirit will be damaged by dealing with people like that. So when you know who you are in Christ, you can say, I see who this person is spiritually, and I don't care what they got going on in the flesh. If they're not spiritually in alignment with me, because I know who I am spiritually and what I believe, I can't deal with them. That's not the right person for me. You got to be able to pick that up quickly. And sometimes it's not quickly. And sometimes we overlook our own intuition. My intuition knew this person, there's a lot of baggage that's going to come with me seeking guidance from this guy. But I knew he could help me. So I overlooked it. I overlooked my own intuition. And I sought guidance from this guy. And I ended up being worse after I hung up with him than I started. But because I know who I am in Christ, I used it to my advantage. See, when you know who you are in Christ and you know your calling, you can use anything negative that has happened to you, because negative is also a perception, right? So I perceived that experience was negative, but then I was able to analyze it and kind of flip it around. And I said, okay, how do I use that situation to benefit me? Right? Don't be a victim to your circumstances. Always, always, always use every single thing that's ever happened in your life, every interaction you've ever experienced. You figure out a way to benefit from it. Okay? All right. So I am Dr. Cruz, the author of Maximize Your Superpowers. Listen, we're all on this journey in life. And some of us are, in different places. Depending on what the goal is, some people are ahead of us in the process of becoming. But don't you ever doubt yourself. Your time is your time. And nobody else gets to dictate when your time is. Okay? So if you want more results in your own life, then you look in the mirror and you hold yourself accountable. You stop looking at other people and how they affect you and how they're controlling your thought system and all of that. Stop looking out there. Look right here in the mirror and you say, okay, girl, or okay, guy, I need to figure out who I am in Christ, because that is your truth. And can't nobody knock you down when you know who you are on a spiritual level. All right? Okay, I'm Dr. Cruz. You all have a wonderful day. And if you'd like more information on the 6-Figure Blueprint, if you want a free copy of Maximize Your Superpowers, please go to capricruz.com, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.